Hello, everyone. How are you this Tuesday? This is Bess McCarty, founder and coach with the MLM Millionaire Club School for Network Marketers, making network marketing simple. The topic today is how to self-coach in 4 simple steps. And I'm going to go through this, and then I'm going to open it up for questions and comments. So love to have you type those in. And if you're watching the replay, love if you type in replay for us, because I'd like to thank you for watching. Also love to hear where you're from. So, gosh, hello Tony, welcome. Welcome. And gosh, I wear several hats as a coach for network marketers, for people in business and life, but my niche is network marketers. And for 10 years, I've been running the school, the MLM Millionaire Club, and doing private coaching and helping network marketers through challenges. We know, don't we, that 80% of success is mindset and 20% is skills. They're both essential and very, very valuable. Both of them are. I've been covering the skills the last 7 weeks. We've gone over each of the 7 skills that Eric Worre teaches in his GoPro books, 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional. And we've trained and delved and role-played and drilled very deeply on each of those 7 skills in the club, in my school. Now it's time for mindset. I'm going to spend the next 4 Facebook Lives every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central Time here, the next 4 Facebook Lives on the mindset part. And hello, Jonas. How nice to see everybody. And Jeremy, how you doing? Gosh, these are awesome people and friends, and so glad that you're here. So, as a coach for 30 years, and a counselor, and a body-mind therapist, I have noticed that people go from solution to problem in 4 steps, generally. I watched myself as I solved my own problems, my students, my clients, and I said, I think there's a pattern here, so I wrote them down. And I call them real conversations with ourselves. And those 4 steps, I'll share with you real quick what they are, and then I will go over some examples. Those 4 steps are, you may want to write this down, problem, emotion, need, and solution. Those are the 4 steps. And what I realized is that every problem contained within it an unmet need. And so I discovered that every problem was really like a red light on the dashboard of your car saying, I need something, you know, to our higher self, to our psyche, to our mind and emotions. So every problem is a sign of an unmet need. Every problem is saying, it's a red light saying, hey, something's missing here. I need gas, I need oil. And so all we have to do to take care of that problem is discover the unmet need. So good to see you, Michael, and everybody coming on. So good to see everybody. I'm waving here. Awesome. So this again, for those who are just joining, is mindset, separate from the skills and my role as a body-mind therapist and a body-mind counselor. Helping network marketers to overcome fears of making calls or fears of whatever blocks a person. We can walk ourselves in 4 simple steps from problem to solution. The 4 simple steps are problem, emotion, the need, and the solution to that need, or how to meet that need. So it's that simple. I'll tell you, I discovered this over 20 years ago, and I use it just about every day. Because I get blocked, we all do. We're human, and that's what life is for. Life is for running into problems and solving them. Life is for growing, I'll say. Life is for growing, and that's how we do it. We run into problems, we make mistakes, we get creative, we get stronger. We're building spiritual muscle every time that we do that. Every time that we solve a problem, every time we overcome a block, every time we break through an obstacle, we are gaining spiritual muscle. And of course, it's good you get physical muscle along with that too. But right now we're talking about the mindset. Hello, Mike. Welcome. So glad to see you. These are tools. Aside from the skills, this is the mindset part. How you can break through anything stopping you. And why is that important? Because every hour is money to you in your business if you're a network marketer. And by the way, this coaching solution applies to everybody in life, not just business or network marketers. This Real Conversations method applies to everyone, every problem, every solution, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. However, today I am zooming in on network marketers. I'm going to give some cool examples of how this works and how to bust through the blocks. So we want to bust through the blocks that hold us back in life, because otherwise, well, it's hell being stuck, really. It just feels terrible, doesn't it? When you don't know how to move forward, when you're afraid to do something, when something's holding you back from your destiny, from your happiness, from what you know you should be doing, and something holds back, it feels bad. So that's number one reason we want to get out of it. For network marketers, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year that you spend getting stuck is going to cost you money, and all the people that you could have helped in the meantime. So those are the reasons we want to break through the blocks fast, and we can do it with this. It really, really works in minutes. The self-coach method, the 4 steps, which I'll go through in a sec. People have come to me as a counselor and a therapist who have broken through blocks that they've had for years. One man said 3 years of daily psychotherapy, weekly psychotherapy. 3 years of it did not get me much movement, but one session with you got 80% of it. This happened with another man as well who'd been stuck all his life with a certain fear and a certain block. So these methods really work. They're simple. Anybody can do it. You can use it with yourself, your team, your children, your friend, your spouse, anyone. So I'm going to describe in detail the 4 steps Real Conversation. Then I will show you how a network marketer can walk themselves through it to overcome fear of calling people. Because that's the main block, right? That you run into, or that your team runs into. Oh yeah, I know I'm supposed to make the call, so I'm going to make those calls tomorrow. Then you call up your team member, well, this or that got in the way. Something got in the way, right? And sometimes it's valid, but 90% of the time it's a fear, procrastination, or the cat's litter need changed, or someone needed help moving, or something else came up. But underneath it is likely the fear of making those calls. And so if you know this method, you could share it with the person. I'm going to give you a link with a free class to do that. And that comes with a chart of the 4 steps. I'll go over the 4 steps right now. The first one is identifying, you might get a pen and paper here, you probably want to write this down. So the first one is identifying the block. For example, with network marketers, it might be not making the calls. But I'll tell you, one lady came to one of my workshops, a senior lady, and she goes, I don't know why, but I can't stop eating sugar. You know, I know I shouldn't eat sugar and all this, but I just can't stop myself from eating it. Why? Why is that? And we talked just a minute there in the workshop in front of everybody, and found out that she was recently widowed, and that this eating sugar started after that, after she lost her husband. And I asked her, do you think that it could be that you're wanting love, that wanting sweetness in your life again? And she realized that was it. So her solution to that was to find other ways to get sweetness. Perhaps hugs from friends, or getting a massage, or going to lunch with a good friend and sharing from the heart with them. Or other ways to love herself. Maybe, give herself fresh flowers every week or something like that. Some other way to get sweetness besides sugar. I discovered this long ago, and that's why I've been able to maintain a good, healthy weight and good health, because it's not hard for me to avoid sweets and white flour and GMOs and bad food and fried foods and all this stuff. It's not hard to, because number one, I eat good, and that seems to satisfy the cells. My cells love this really good, vital, life-giving food that I eat, which is mostly raw, and it's proteins and fats and vegetables, and but my body, and I get grass-fed and organic and all this stuff, but my body seems to love it, so it doesn't crave that stuff. But secondarily, it could be an emotional craving, right? So we need to arrange for that sweetness or that joy or that comfort or whatever that food, that bad food might be. We identify what need it is that that food is supplying, and then we find a better way to meet that need in a healthy way. So see, I just went through the 4 steps of real conversation, which is identify the problem. Second, the emotion underneath it. The lady was lonely, right? And third, she needed TLC, sweetness, comfort, love. She wanted love. And then the 4th step is the solution. Find a healthy way to meet that need that's not with a harmful way like sugar or drugs or alcohol or overworking. So I'll explain just a little bit more about each of those 4 steps. Meanwhile, if you're watching the replay, I'd love if you type in replay so I can thank you for that. If you would like to tell me where you're from, I really do enjoy seeing what parts of the country people are attending from. And if you're getting value from this, please hit share so that other people may too, or tag friends or your team members in the comments. That would be awesome. And yes, if you have a question, go ahead and type that in, because shortly I'm going to be able to take questions. And if you have comments about this, how you've gotten success with this, I'd love to hear that as well. So the 4 steps that can apply to any problem, I'm going to just expound or tell you a little more about each one of the steps. So the first one, identify the problem. And a lot of times we don't even want to do that. We might hide from the problem. If we don't know that there's a solution to it, we might not want to look at it. So if something is bugging you in your life, it's causing pain, causing unhappiness, something that you'd like to improve, you could write that down as the first step. Just for an example, I'm going to take network marketers. Procrastination. Don't know why I don't make the calls. So you can write that down as the first step. Second step is the emotion behind it. Identify the feeling. We do this because it might help to identify the 3rd step, which is the need. So we stop at the 2nd step. Say, what's the feeling here? I'm not making my calls. Is it fear? Is it frustration? Is it guilt? Is it, fear of rejection? People won't like me. So if you identify the feeling, it can help you. It give you more information about the 3rd step, which is the need. So the need is, there's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual needs, and we identify which one it is that is missing for you. Because remember, a problem is always a sign of an unmet need, or the sign of like a light on a dashboard. Hello, John. How are you? Good to see you here. Thanks so much for joining. We're talking about how to self-coach, the 4 steps from problem to solution. And that is identify the problem, then identify the emotion, then the need, and then the solution to it. As speaking as a body-mind therapist and a holistic health practitioner. For all people, but especially specializing in network marketing. So that 3rd step that we're talking about right now, the need, can be a lot of different things for different people at different times. So I'm going to put a chart out when this is done in the comments that you can print out, put on your refrigerator, and has all these needs. Well, it has the problems, the emotions, and the needs. But the needs is that's the secret part that we want to get to, right? That's the one we're detective. We want to uncover that hidden, unmet need. And I have a list of all needs on there that I've collected from Maslow and all the other 20 years of studies that I've condensed down to these core needs. And then you can identify what the need is on there. It might be self-esteem. It might be the need for skills. It might be the need for confidence. but you identify what that is, and then you meet that in a healthy way. So I'm going to give some examples right now of this. And by the way, if you have a question, please type that in. If you're watching the replay, I'd love if you do that. And if you have a favorite takeaway that you got from this, I'd love if you type that in as well. So let's say a network marketer is not making the calls. That's the most common thing, the most common block. Okay, and the most common reason behind that is, well, fear of rejection. So if the person, number one step, problem, not making the calls. Number two, the emotion is fear. And number three, the need could be self-esteem. Number four, one possible solution to that, step four, could be to stand before a mirror and say to oneself before you make your calls, I am valuable and lovable. Whether or not people say yes or no, whether or not they want to hear my presentation or try my product or join me in my business, I am valuable and lovable. And therefore, don't take it personally, because it's not about me. Hello, Lillian. Welcome. So glad you're here. Lillian is a John Maxwell trainer who was on our Facebook Live with us this morning. Okay, so what if the network marketer, what if the need is to, what if the feeling is, number one, problem, not making the calls. Number two, the emotion could be fear of intruding, like I'm not welcome, they're not going to like me. So the need might be to get permission. And how could you do that? You could say, is this a good time? And would you like to hear something new I'm working on in case it might interest you or you might be able to refer people to me? So asking permission like that, which would include a skill. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for the likes and loves. Appreciate that. And if you like to type in where you're from, I'd love to hear that. Also, if you consider yourself a network marketing professional, please type pro, because I want to congratulate you for that. All right, so another one that could hold people back, there's actually a bunch, but these are some of the ones that I've uncovered. For myself, I've had a fear, well, if I make all these calls, I'm going to burn myself out, and so then if I'm not making my calls for my business, and by the way, I'm not a network marketer now. I used to be for years, full-time, helped me raise my son as a single mom, but then I became a body mind. My company went out of business. I became a body mind therapist, and I realized that my calling is to coach network marketers, not to be in a company. So I'm completely dedicated to that, being generic. But let's say I'm not making the calls for my own coaching business, and I realized, well, subconsciously, you have to be a detective and uncover these things, but subconsciously there's a little voice in there that said, well, I'm worried, that would be the second step, about making the calls because I might burn myself out making all these millions of calls. So in this case, my need was balance and consistency. Not going overboard, which I can as a Scorpio. I can go to extremes to go overboard, and I've done that before. I've burned myself out. So my need this time was to promise myself to stay in balance and to make only so many calls a day and to do that every day so that I didn't burn out. When I did that, no problem. Then I could make the calls. But I had to identify that hidden voice that was back there. That's why I call this real conversations with ourselves, you guys. It takes this honesty and this willingness to get the real truth out. That's why people say that my work is similar to Tony Robbins, because it sheds lights on the real reasons behind it, and it can explode it just in minutes. Thank you for the likes and loves. I really appreciate it. And hello, Wahid. Glad you're here. Another reason people may not make their calls in network marketing is they are, how can I say it? They are focused on themselves rather than the person. So they might not be making their calls. The fear might be frustration because it hasn't worked in the past. The reason might be that they need to learn service, an attitude and a posture of service. Thank you for the likes and those. Appreciate that. I get tickled. I see this. So they may need to, the need may be to have a stance and a posture and an intent of service instead of, join so that I can reach my next rank, join so that I can pay my bills, join so that I can build my business. So the need might be to focus on the other person because it's more fun, and then we want to do it. There is a joy in giving, and there isn't a lot of joy in trying to get the other person to build for me, to do it for me. That's really has a minimal joy to it, doesn't it? But to serve the other person. So the network marketer who's afraid of making the calls might be because it hasn't worked in the past when they have an attitude of, I'm trying to get you. I'm trying to build my business. I'm trying to use you to meet my goals. And it doesn't work for them. And the need might be that need for service. And if you're helping a team member with that, you could perhaps spot that. You could perhaps observe a call that they're making and the way that they make it and the intuitively, the intent that people pick up on when they hear it. You could even record it and show it to them and say, now, would you join that person? So that would be another solution. So I love your attitude. You're absolutely correct. Lillian, I know that you are about servant leadership. You said that on our call earlier, our Facebook Live earlier today. Isn't that the truth? People will make the calls, not have success, and say it doesn't work. Network marketing doesn't work. This company doesn't work, right? When it's really so much, that's a huge switch to turn from serve me to serve us, right? Instead of serve me. I guess that's why it's not called serve me. It's called serve us. And you are included in that. Nobody needs to negate their needs and put themselves out of the picture and serve other people only. No, it's all of us. We're all in this together. So we all benefit. Let's all grow together. Your team member may need to learn that. This is personal growth course disguised as a business, right? Okay, another hidden little thing that I found in myself, this kind of hidden little subconscious thing there, would be another thing I found was, truth be known, I really would like to get something for nothing, or as little as I can give for it. There's a lazy part of me that says, why can't these people just come to my classes without me having to go and talk to them all? Why can't I just put something out on the internet, a post, and 1,000 people sign up for the class? Why do I have to call them all or message them all or whatever? But when I start doing it, I find it's really fun, and I do enjoy connecting with people. But there was a lazy part in me that said, hey, I wish I could just push a button and have the people join in the class, which I love teaching the classes. I wish I could just, push a button and have this happen. How come I have to call the people? Because that's the price of admittance, right? And there's a purification that goes on with that. We learn to connect, listen, hear, ask, care about, listen to people. Maybe somebody today is going to need help with somebody totally different than what I have to offer, but maybe I can direct you over to this person, or over to John, or over to Lillian, who can help you with this. Maybe they have a need completely different than what I thought I was connecting with them for, but if we're a servant leader, then that's okay. That's what we're here for. Are we going to let life use us for what it wants to use us or not? Am I serious when I say life use me for what you want, for the bigger purpose? Am I serious about that? And it doesn't have to be my agenda. So so we just might need to the need might be to catch that fire of the joy of service. Another thing that I found in network marketers too is when they're making all these calls and doing all this work, You know, it's all for the sale of a shampoo. You know, all of this work is just for that. Well, in the beginning, it is low ticket items. It's just the product until the person likes the product and they decide they would like to be a rep for it too. And then they train other reps and other reps, and then it begins to exponentially build. But in the beginning, it is a small reward, right? So the problem might be not making the calls. Step one, not making the calls, the problem. Number two, resentment. The emotion could be resentment that I'm doing all this work. You know, at my job, I get paid, you know, $20, $30 an hour or whatever that I get paid at my job. And here I am doing all this work, and I'm probably making $1 an hour. Is it worth it? All this work. And so the second step, the emotion could be resentment. And the third step could be, well, what is the person needing? I think in this case it could be the vision, the long-range vision and maturity to wait for the reward. And they say that you can tell the maturity of a child when you offer him, would you want 1 cookie now or 3 cookies in 5 minutes? How mature are we that we can delay gratification and go for the longer range reward and weather through all the work that you need to do in the beginning and get paid very little, and then eventually it turns around and it's the opposite. You get paid a lot for as little as you do. And one of my clients who was a 6-figure earner said, you know, Bess, it's ridiculous how much I make for how little I do. But she put in the footwork to get there, didn't she? So that person might need the long-range vision. And so you see, in all these examples, you find the hidden need that's there. We often hide it from ourselves because we're not allowed to have our feelings and needs a lot of times when we're trained as kids. You know, oh, you don't need that. You're not angry. You're not sad. You know, don't cry. So we hide our feelings and need from ourselves. And also we hide it because if we don't know a solution, then why feel all that pain or why feel that need? So we even hide the problem from ourselves too. So Real Conversations is the courage to get it out. I encourage you to journal it. I have a chart that helps you to do that. I'll put that in the comments. A link to a blog that leads to a class. If you scroll down on that blog, there's a sign up for a free class. And it gives you the chart, a couple of quizzes to help identify the blocks, and then an audio that walks you through the steps of Real Conversation, similar to this, going into the 4 steps. And next 4 Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Central Time here, I'm going to lead you through each of the 4 steps. We're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4 of these steps and go into more detail about them. And you can ask questions. So you may want to get this lesson and begin working with it yourself over the next week and bring your questions next class. Anybody have a question right now? What did you guys think of this? Did you already know this? Is it new? Is it weird? You think you can use it? You think it can help you? It's helped people that I know for 20 years. I think that it's the thing that I'm really here to teach. I think this is my mission, this lifetime, is to teach this and get this out to people. Not just network marketers, but everybody for all areas of their life. I've got books coming out in classes and everything eventually. Hey, Linda Duncanson, how good to see you. How are you? A fellow spiritual healer. My sister, my spiritual path. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. So I'll post this link and also want to let you know about a daily leadership class that I am teaching with Jeff Gamble every noon Eastern Time, Facebook Live here. It's about the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Jeff, being a certified John Maxwell trainer, can lead this. So we can lead this class, or he can lead this class, and we both teach it. So that is every noon Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Facebook Live on the Facebook group. Just go to the Facebook group, MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. It's good not just for business and network marketing, but for parenting too. And or the current job that you have, or anytime you're part of a group and a nonprofit group or anything like that, the laws of leadership. You'll find that it's totally personal growth, spiritual growth, and very valuable information. So they say do a little bit of personal growth work every day. And if you attend these, they're about 30 or so minutes with Q&A afterward. If you attend these, then you're getting your personal growth work in every day. Very, very valuable. Can hardly think of anything more except this Real Conversations work. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. If any questions, go ahead and type them in. What's your greatest takeaway? Did you realize something today that can help you, that can benefit you in your business? If you got value, I'd love if you hit share or tag a friend in the comments. If you're watching the replay, I love if you type replay. I'll tell you what else. Put your favorite emoji in there because I want to see what that is. I love you guys. I also do private coaching. If you get stuck anywhere in Real Conversations, just private message me, Bess McCarty. And of course, I help people beyond whatever they need. If you get stuck in this process or anything and you'd like to discuss private coaching, I will offer you a complimentary session. Can't beat that. So just private message me, Bess McCarty, if you would like assistance with that. And Lillian says, thank you, and thank you all too. I'll post links in the comments. Hello, Denise. I know you're coming on, but I'm about to post the replay, and it's some really good stuff. Hope you get value. And a link in the comments for a free class. So we'll see you there, and I hope you can join us for those lunchtime leadership shows on the Facebook group, MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. Okay, any questions? Going once, twice. Okay, we can keep the discussion going on the replay site. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.